Hello, and thank you for joining me for today's Spirit Share, where we talk about all things spirit. This is Beth Coughlin, and it is my hope that this channel acts as a lighthouse, sharing spirit's light of healing. Today's Spirit Share is called Keep Your Eyes on Spirit. And this Spirit Share is about a recent experience that I had with an eagle. And this is how it started. On January 17th of this year, 2024, it was actually a really dark day for me because I had just learned the night before when the doctor called to tell me that the breast cancer I thought I had fought off in 2019 was indeed back. And this came to a shock because I had had a double mastectomy with reconstruction, and it was back in the same spot. And I found out about this because I felt like a couple small little tic-tac shaped lumps there. So I went to the doctor, had a biopsy, and indeed the day before that night he called back to say, yes, actually it is cancer. So I was in quite a shock. I was in grief. I was quite frozen. All the scenarios are playing out in my mind, and they're never the good scenarios, you know. And so I had to just get out of my house. So I decided I got to get out of here. So I decided to go pick up some dry cleaning. So I'm on Middleton. For those of you that know this area, I was on 114, and I went to pick that up. And then I said, I might as well go over to the bank. So I had to make a deposit. So I went, while I was walking into the bank, I noticed a bank employee had locked himself out of his car, and someone was trying to help him. And I just made note of that. And when I went in the bank, the teller said to me, oh, gee, one of her coworkers had just locked himself out of the car, and he was just so frustrated. And so I just kind of casually said, hey, divine timing. We never know why we're being held back. Sometimes it's because maybe that's keeping him from getting in his car and being in an accident or meeting up with the right person at the right time. We never know exactly why things are happening. So we kind of just, when we let it go, we learn about God's divine timing. And she looked up at me and she said, exactly, it's all in God's hands. And when she said that, I had this shiver in my spine, which I call my truth bumps. And I knew in that moment that she was speaking from spirit, and that message was for me, that, Beth, release the grip. It's in God's hands, no matter what happens, right? And give yourself some compassion and remind yourself that you are spirit, having a human experience, and the eternal promise is real. And so as I was in this place of shifting out of this dark place and in this remembrance that I'm spirit, I stepped out into the parking lot and I saw something kind of catch my eye, and I looked up and I said, oh my God, is that an eagle? And it was. So I ran into my car and I started to try to follow the eagle to get a picture. And then I got back onto 114 to go home, and I noticed the eagle was actually following me in the direction that I was going, which I thought was super spectacular. And I'm like, I quickly grabbed my phone and took a quick video so I could validate this experience. And I didn't even really know if I got the video because it was, I was driving. I was putting more awareness on my driving than I was that. And so I just enjoyed the moment and kept going down this Route 114, which is like a busy highway. It's a two-way traffic. And so then I come up to like this spot where I have to go on to another highway, and I kind of wave goodbye as I see the eagle go straight. And about maybe 5 minutes later, I'm now going down another direction of towards home on 95. And I look up, and the eagle is now going over me on the highway, over by those who know the North Shore Mall, over by the North Shore Mall. And I just couldn't believe it. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like the eagle's literally like saying goodbye as I'm like almost home, right? And when I got home, I was like reflecting on this and how the teller said it's all in God's hands, and how for me, when I see an eagle, it's a few things. For one, it does remind me of my teacher, J Tamura, who's now in spirit, because he always embodied the eagle. Because for me, he always reminded his students that we are limitless, eternal spirit. And that was one of his things that he always reminded us of. And so when I see an eagle, it's that reminder. And an eagle also is a reminder of that certainty. You know, eagles aren't wishy-washy. They are certain about who they are and their purpose. And in that moment, it was that certainty, that power and energy around being certain that we are limitless, eternal spirit. And that when we keep our eyes on that reminder that we are spirit, and keeping our eyes on spirit, we validate that our existence of being spirit. So in that moment, I had this great compassion for myself and all the things that I was going on in my life and how it would unfold. And I let go of some of the grip of my anxiousness around everything as I had this extraordinary experience. I mean, what are the chances of going out into this busy street and having this eagle like follow me halfway home and remind me that I'm eternal spirit? And that's the promise that we all have, that we are all eternal spirit. It's my belief that. And that was a beautiful validation and reminder. And so as I'm still going through this experience, and it's still in a lot of uncertain charted waters of what's ahead of me, I remind myself that I'm eternal spirit. And no matter what, when I keep my eyes on that and I give myself compassion and I say hello to myself as the eternal spirit and I validate myself in that way, I grow that certainty. I grow that energy of the eagle. And I remind myself the eternal promise that I am limitless spirit. So this is just a quick hello to everyone, and to remind you to keep your eyes on spirit, and when things get dark and difficult, to validate who you are as a spirit and that eternal promise of who you are, and to bring that energy of that eagle here to this physical plane as the energy of spirit. Namaste. For more information about my work, please visit my website, elizabethcoughlin.com, and subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay in touch for more spirit shares. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it.